Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poeartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poeartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoeartistry.online.
Hello, Perceptive Readers. Welcome to this Spotify first podcast for the James Poeartistry Productions website as far as playing this issue or playing this series right here that comes out every week, where I play it first on Spotify and then you'll hear it probably on other platforms soon afterwards. Well, this is what I want to talk to you about today. And it's still in reference to the knowledge that we receive and how it's taught to us. And I'm going to tell you two differences, two clear, distinct differences of the way it's taught by institutions, often in general, and the spiritual based type of education is different, and what it does to truly build up human beings. Okay, now it's going to show you how important it is too. You can have an argument with a person anytime where they will say that this is your opinion and this is my opinion. And even when it comes to right and wrong, and even when it comes to the effect on a human being. Now, I want you to think about that because I want to seriously emphasize this is what persons who want to actually not only judge a matter that they have to judge, but realize all the factors in place where there are mitigating circumstances that come into play. Boy, I probably said that word over 100 times over the past, I don't know, decades or so. But the reality is, it's true, what I'm telling you. Uh, we could go and break down just how much human beings, even when they do very, very bad things, something that may have factored into molding them that way or even triggering them in that way, where it was more of a reaction and not because it's something that they meditate on every single day. See, we realize, even the good book shares, that there are some people that they're really not happy at all every day of their life, that they can't sleep good unless they done made somebody else feel bad or stumble. You see what I'm saying? So there are people like that. And there is a correct process, a way of even addressing those human beings, something that has been lost or maybe have never been taught in many persons' minds today. But individuals like that there is a method towards addressing those type of individuals. And see, and that's where you get into persons' choices, where they'll say, well, this is my way or our way, we should do it. And then you have another person say the opposite. And so I referenced the verse again, what Paul was saying. Paul even mentioned he could do anything. Or people say in a minute, you can do anything. You have the freedom to do anything. But Paul really emphasized now in two places, because I thought it was in one place, but he emphasized it in another place, in a couple of letters from Romans to Corinthians. They were saying that still not everything that I may do, even though I have the right to do, is really good to do. And so he also talked about conscience in those areas. Now, getting into education and conscience, that's what tied into it. What you pursue, what you may learn. And some persons realize the fact of the matter. I want to reference Rain Man. I like to use that movie Rain Man because it goes to show how even humans can have debilitating type of illnesses or diseases or handicapped or whatever you want to call it, and yet there is still an intelligence on a level that even in that state there's something that really contributes to value in humanity. And uh, and as somebody may say or sing, and they can't take that away from them, or they can't take that away from me. I think it's a song go. And I say reasonable persons and judges don't even want to take it away from them. But getting right back to the education, I said I'll tell you the two differences. You see, you have to realize where you're at and how you learn. I say it's such a shame. And this is another fact for persons to, especially thanks to the parents, have found ways to teach their child how to maybe read, write, and many other things in life. And it was going according to the makeup of that child. Since we're all unique human beings, we got different makeups. Some are calm, even tempered. Some are emotional. And then some, again, may get into another area that need even more special attention. But see, the parents give the love that is necessary in the education for the child to still be a productive member in society. And as they're learning at different points during those stages, sometimes the parent will even say, now, don't you forget this, and you keep this here, you keep this there. It used to be even some of the items or even medications some children may have had to take when they were growing up or what have you, where they would be pinned a certain way, on the pockets and things so that they wouldn't lose these items. Sometimes they would have instructions even for the teacher to know to grab that note or these items. Just be not that the teacher, well, some teachers, they do what they want to do, but it would make the teacher aware that when it was time during lunchtime or what have you, that they would observe that child taking whatever it is that they were supposed to take, with their little lunch boxes and things of that nature. All the same, see, there's nothing wrong with it. That was actually what? Being humane. That was actually using wisdom in the education process. There was none of this thinking that, okay, since this child isn't made or developed in this way or that way, that, we look at them in some worse than the dregs of society, you see. Well, imagine, you have children coming from that environment, or ones, there have been some who said that no, they didn't even get that type of environment at all, even though they had to learn, as they will put it, everything they know from the streets. So imagine they grow up still determined to be honest and good people, and yet the education system now, the way that they before they were learning, would uh, generous help. I would say generous help. And it's another word I'm looking for. I would say even old help. Some people say from their parents. The parents were just doing what they were supposed to do. Now, even though that person now has become an adult, it doesn't mean that we still don't have those tender qualities that some people would even say is your inner child. Okay, is anything wrong with that? No. I would say no. I always mention it's still where our minds are at or dwell at overall. Are we basically balanced with all our emotions and all everything else, our personality and things of that nature, something that we strive to always be. And we're not going to always do things perfectly. I say, unlike grandma and grandpa. Okay. So with that being said, they get to some of these classes, and I'm going to tell you the distinct difference when they go to different classes, higher education, even including esoteric knowledge. There's almost like a hardness or even harshness with it at times with the way it would be delivered. None of the consideration of exactly the way that you're made up chemically. I'm saying even chemically, no less getting into the deeper matters of spirituality wise, but even chemically. See, this is what your parents factored into. You see, as you was growing up, they don't factor that in into, you see, many of these different environments. It depends on what type of teacher or professor you get or what have you. But in general, a lot of institutions run on what they just call the hard knocks of life. And so if you're already not so-called built this certain way foundationally to be able, I would say, build um, mountains and empires and things of that nature all on your own, they'll look at you and even tell you, well, you just don't belong here, and won't think no more about it. Isn't it something? So that's the attitude of a lot of persons. And with that, the type of training or giving the education actually gets to the point at times where I would tell you, if already you have these different uh, now grown adults, even though they're really just coming out of teenagehood or what have you, that step into that environment where it's almost like a no mercy or every person for themselves type of get the education, and the way that it's delivered to them is along with confusion. And here's what I mean by confusion. There's a way of teaching that I would say, again, uh, depending on how you made up, does cause some psychological trauma. I won't get too deep into that, but what I am going to tell you about the starting of that process is the teaching of the way of is more than questions and answers from the teacher. Those are mind teasers, as they call them. You know, they actually call them more than that. They actually some teachers would say they're playing devil's advocate. All the same, then they take it to a level of what they call circular reasoning. And what that is designed to do is to still take what you know as a fact and actually keep asking questions and twisting matters in such a way where it's really designed for you to even question something that literally shouldn't be questioned because it really is a fact. It's one thing to stimulate the mind in that way, but have some gotten um really confused and everything else from those type of methods at times? Yes, they have. So if this is the case, but this is the way some persons teach and things of that nature, that is the difference, as I'm telling you, from when people really are learning about Christ. Christ Jesus. There's clear statement of facts when people are talking about it. There are clear, and see, remember, keeping the context of what I'm talking about. There are many movies, shows, dramas, and all sorts of things, as you know, dealing with faith and Christ. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about still in the classroom type structure. You see, uh, the way it is set up, you don't be having in general. Now, somebody else might do. You might say, "Well, I went to this place or that building. They did well. That's them." But I'm saying, in general, it really was set up that the method of teaching, from reading, from public speeches, to also um, uh, illustrations, and even a question or so. It is not designed to use some of these methods that will end up, having you think that bad is good and good is bad or what have you. So I just wanted to share that with you because in many ways of teaching, as I told you, the difference is the type of education and the way it's taught at times to persons. It has really damaged some people's spirituality. They may have gotten their degree, but they end up getting it at the cost of their lost in faith in God. See, God is a reality. But if the education and the way it was taught worked on your mind so much that you don't even have the faith that your inner child had, what is going on there? Why are you like this now if that is the case? So that's all I'm going to say. And have a very wonderful day. And it does deal with the conscience. That's why I said again, if somebody's conscience say they don't want to do this or go there or what have you, reasonable people don't force another individual. I tell you what, at the very least, they are respectful. They are respectful. They are direct. They are formal on something that's that important and in its level. Take care of yourself, perceptive reader. And until next week, maybe, remember the new book is coming out, Wisdom in the Letter. Okay. It's number 5. And I just want to say happy graduation to you all. As always, take very wonderful care of yourself. Bye-bye.